All right, let's take a look at if we can replace a Cintiq with an iPad. Okay, really kind of a crazy cool idea here. So let's kind of dive right in. I'm going to be looking at AstroPad Studio, using it with programs like Blender and ZBrush to see if I can actually sculpt on the iPad using the iPad and the Apple Pencil and using it as I would a Cintiq. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now, you can see I'm at astropad.com, and you can see I can start a free trial. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just try this and see what's going on here. So I feel like, and I'll have links below to all this stuff. You can see step one, you're going to have to download kind of an application on your desktop, okay, on your computer. So if you have a Mac or PC, you'd hit these buttons and download it. The second step would be to download the app on the iPad. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to launch AstroPad on your computer first. Then you go to the iPad and launch the app, and it should kind of just automatically connect, and then you're going to be in your computer. So you can see here what we're looking at is my iPad, okay? And I know this is kind of crazy. I'm actually in Blender here. So I've got Blender launched, and I kind of want to show something. If I click this dot here, this pink dot, that'll bring up a sidebar. Okay, you'll see that. So I'm in AstroPad Studio, and if I click on that, the sidebar will come up. If I click on the top here, it'll actually make it even bigger, and you can see that I can have special kind of commands, okay, that would replace a keyboard. You'll also notice at the bottom here, there's some things that are commonly used, such as Control Alt Shift. I can even click on the keyboard icon and it would bring up a full keyboard if I need it, and then I can bring it back down. So yeah, let's take a look here. One thing too, and you can see at the bottom, you can see all those icons, so I really am looking at my computer screen. And it looks kind of small here, like you're like, Dave, how can you read that? Do you have a microscope? Well, actually on the iPad, it's got such good clarity that I can actually read all the menus and that kind of thing. So if I want to launch a program, I can go here. I can click on this icon at the top here, and then I can choose my different programs. Okay, so I think I'm going to choose ZBrush. Let's take a look at that. So if I come in through here, let's see, here it is. If I click on it, now it's going to actually launch ZBrush on my computer. And again, if I was looking at my computer, I could see it's actually going to be loading the screen and everything. And what's neat is okay, cool. It's loading ZBrush, and here's ZBrush. Okay, and if I want to close Lightbox, I could just temporarily hide this. Click on Lightbox. There we go. Now, these commands on the side that I'm hiding and showing are specific for ZBrush. Okay, which is cool. Now, I feel like if I want to demo something, I'm just going to go to Lightbox here, grab the default head, double click on it, and now if I click and move, again, I'm just drawing directly on the iPad. If I hold down Shift, and you can see that I have it there, I can go like that, and it's going to snap it, whatever it does. And then if I hold down Alt, I can click like that, and then I can zoom in or out. Okay, but let's kind of give this a test. One thing I want to try is I'm going to go over here. Okay, I can open these menus just fine. I can click on divide, give this guy, you know, looks like 3.6 million polys. That's cool. And I'm going to go back over here. Actually, I want to grab clay buildup. There we go. I'm on clay buildup. And now I'm going to kind of test my pressure sensitivity. Okay. And if I go like this, so in other words, if I press light, I want it to be kind of hardly an effect. And if I press hard, I want it to be a major effect. So you can see there I can press light, and if I press hard, so it is accepting the pressure on the iPad, okay, which is really, really cool. Now, you might be saying, well, hold on, Dave, I've downloaded AstroPad Studio, and that is not the case. It is not working, and that is true. It will not work right out of the gate. What you need to do is you need to go into Preferences here, and you're going to have to go down to Tablet, and on tablet driver API, if you open that up, you have to make sure that stylus is checked or highlighted. You can see that at the bottom. And then you have to restart ZBrush. Okay, what that's doing is it's using what's called Windows Ink. Okay, something that I always hated, but I feel like in this case, if you're using AstroPad alongside these programs, you're going to need to allow it to use Windows Ink, and I guess that is what's stylus. Now you can see again it's pressure sensitivity. Okay, one of the other things that I realized that I use a lot in ZBrush is the hover feature. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is if I lift my pen off, let's say if I'm using a Cintiq, and if I hover over the eye, okay, I'm hovering over the eye right now with my pencil. Now, if you have the newest iPad, okay, the newest iPad does offer hover support, meaning that you can lift your pen off of the tablet and hover over it and it will follow, okay? So to just kind of show you what I mean here, I'm going to, if I click here and then if I hover, I can go over here without affecting the model, but I can see my cursor moving there, right? So again, I'm hovering over the model without it affecting it. Why is that important? Well, I feel like I like to see where my cursor is going to be, like how big it is when I'm drawing and things like that. And what I found was I can actually go in here, and if I go to Edit Workspace, I can edit all of this stuff, okay? I can also edit what's called magic gestures. And you'll see that by default, it probably understands that you want to hover. And I can see that hover right now is if there's the dot and the pencil. The dot means that I click with my hand, and the pencil means that I use the pencil, Apple Pencil. So watch this. I'm going to touch with my hand, and you can see that I'm touching with my hand down there. Now if I move the Apple Pencil, it allows it to be hover. Even if you don't have hover support on your iPad, I can still hover over the model without it affecting it. Let's say I want to go right here. And now when I let up, if I press spacebar, I'm literally right there. Okay, and I love that. So I feel like those are two, I feel like for me, non-negotiable things. I need hover support and I need pressure sensitivity. Both I feel like which are not super obvious when you first launch AstroPad Studio. Okay, and if I click here, you can see that they have preset things like here's move, scale, and rotate. Okay, those are just really, and you can see I'm changing at the top there when I click on the side. If I go to the edit button, you can see that I could switch or not switch. I'm going to say do not switch. But I feel like you could find, kind of what you use the most and put it over here. You can see undo and redo. I believe by default, if I just double tap, that's an undo. Okay, so you can kind of find cool features like that. And again, if you wanted to edit it, you could go to Edit Workspace, and then you could add stuff here. So if you wanted to add a shortcut, you would just click like this, and you would name it. So if I click on this, I would say, test. And then I'd add a keystroke, and then I could add it. So let's say if it was the bracket key, okay? And the bracket key, changes my brush size bigger. And so maybe I name it bigger. So I can go here, show keyboard. And then hit add. Now I can see that bigger is on there. So if I go back here, and then if I come back, if I hover over, I guess it's smaller. That was the smaller one. And then I could have a bigger one. So I feel like instead of, I could have it right here, at my literally at my fingertips right there. And then if it's out of the way, I can just click on that. Now, if I wanted on the other side, up at the top here, there's a kind of a hamburger button. And I can click on that, and it's going to bounce to the other side, okay, or bounce to this side. Same with the bottom down here. I can bounce to that side or bounce to this side, which is pretty cool. And then it can just kind of, again, be out of the way. If I wanted to reconfigure the quick stuff at the bottom, I could also do that too by clicking on quick keys. You can see I can hide it or show it. I can also go to edit, and you can see that I could add new buttons down here at the bottom. I can click on the plus, or I could take away, I could change whatever I need. So if I wanted the bracket keys down here, I'm sure I could put the bracket keys there to change it up and down, or X if I wanted symmetry on or off, those type of things. I believe you can also, on Magic Gestures, I can change what any of these things do. So I can change it to erase, I could have it a specific modifier key, all that good stuff. I can also go down here and switch what double tapping on the pencil does. Okay, so again, I could take advantage of that if you have Apple II Pencil or newer. It supports the double tap. So really cool. Let's take a look at something like Blender, which is a little bit more complex because you need to use middle mouse and things like that as far as navigation. So I'm going to go like this. Again, to switch, I can go in here and I could just click on Blender. Okay, and now here's Blender. Okay, and I can see that my I don't have the bracket down there because it remembered what I want for my thing, and it's specific to Blender. Now, again, in Blender, as you might know, you need to use middle mouse just to move around. But if I go to Edit Workspace, whoop, hold on here. Let me see if I open this up. Yeah, Edit Workspace. I'm going to come down here, Magic Gestures, and I can see that touching once with a pencil is the middle mouse button. Okay, genius. I love it. You know what I mean? Like they knew that that's what I wanted. So now I can just hold right here. And now if I click with the pencil, I go like that. And if I go with two fingers, I can zoom in like that. Or if I pinch back, it goes like that. So again, I just touch and move. I feel like this is actually pretty intuitive once you know that's how you do it. I think that if you didn't know, obviously, that you need to do that, then it can be kind of frustrating. But this is great, okay? I can also do things like this. I can see that they have a preset edit mode right here. So if I click on edit mode, boom, I'm in edit mode. And then down here, I just added a few, like to get into face mode. So I can click on face mode. And now you can see that I can select a face. I'm just tapping it with the Apple Pencil. If I click on edge, and now I can click on an edge, again, tapping it with Apple Pencil, and then go back to face. Let's say if I wanted a shortcut for like E for extrude or something like that, I could obviously program that in there as well. So really, really cool. And on here, I'm just going to go back to object mode, and I'm going to put a modifier on this one. So if I go to, let's say, generate multi-resolution, and I'm going to subdivide, okay? And I'm going to try sculpting on this one here. So I'm going to go into sculpting. Okay, there, I'm in sculpting. I can zoom in. Okay, excellent. And temporarily just hide that, kind of pull this out a little bit. Okay, and find, there we go. Now, maybe I'll double tap to undo. Okay, cool. And now if I come over here, I'm going to just subdivide again. Okay. There we go. And now if I press light, it does like that. And if I press hard, it goes bigger. Again, on the iPad, I mean, that's obviously super, super important, right? Okay, subdivide. And again, it's cool because it's running off of the power of the computer. Okay, you can see I can rotate, and then I can, looks like, did I lose? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, so I feel like it's a little high. My poly count's getting a little ridiculous here. But I feel like it's all good. One thing I should mention, though, that, again, directly out of the box, it's not going to work on Blender. So what you have to do is you have to go to Edit, Preferences, and what I mean not going to work is the pressure sensitivity of sculpting. So what you're going to want to do is you want to go to Input and make sure that your tablet API is set to Windows Ink. I think by default it's set to Automatic or WinTab, but I feel like we want to switch it to Windows Ink. Then you're going to have that pressure sensitivity, okay? And again, the other main thing to know for Blender, I feel like, is this idea of magic gestures of how to get middle mouse. And middle mouse is touch and pen at the same time. But again, you can set it to whatever you need to. I feel like I just need to spend more time in here to see if it's really practical to be working this way. But I feel like I'm really impressed with, I feel like kind of how clean the interface is, how they did that. Granted, the iPad, even at the biggest one, which is I think 12.9 inch screen, it's still kind of small for a Cintiq, but I feel like compared to maybe buying a separate Cintiq, I feel like it's awesome, right? It is great. One other thing I should mention is how good, kind of quote unquote, is the connection. So if I go into connection right here, I can see that I'm connected via USB-C, and I can see that my response time is 1 millisecond, and my connection quality is high because I'm physically plugged into the computer. If I unplug my computer, okay, so if I unplug my computer, I can see that now I'm completely wireless, but my response time is 22 milliseconds, and my connection quality is medium. So depending on your Wi-Fi connection, so if you plug it in, you're going to have a really, really high or really, really good connection. And if you don't, it could lag. I mean, slightly. I feel like if you did it long enough, you probably wouldn't even notice. And the last thing here, if we want to, I could go like this. If I had multiple monitors, okay, if I go to, let me see, hold on, move and zoom. Okay, I can go like this, and I can choose a different monitor. Okay, so if I go like this, I can see that that's on my other monitor on my computer, and then I can come back here and I can say, hey, this is this monitor. And then I can go full screen here. And so again, if you had even a multiple monitor setup, you could still, kind of work it like that. So really, really cool stuff here. And I just kind of want to show, I'm just going to get back to, let me see here. I'll maybe close it down and just kind of finish with kind of some comparisons here. So that was AstroPad Studio with the iPad. So again, it's not like you're downloading ZBrush or Blender or any of these programs on the iPad itself. You're actually still using them on the computer. You're just using your iPad as a device, like a Cintiq, okay? And if we compare that to an actual Cintiq, I feel like Cintiqs are great screen devices where you can draw on them. I feel like if I look at this, I can see that the Pro is, I think, 3700, the biggest one, obviously, but you're going to have such a much bigger screen, which is nice. I can see that the smallest one, the 16, is going to be, $1,600. But again, something like this, it's only the screen. It's still going to have to be connected to a computer, right? Now, there's some options like the Mobile Studio, which actually has like a computer built into it, so you can be kind of completely portable, but you can still see it's $2,500. So again, I feel like these are pretty pricey. Now, I feel like I probably wouldn't buy an iPad to be just a Cintiq, okay? I feel like what I'm suggesting is that if you have an iPad, it may be worth looking into if you're going to, if you're thinking about having an iPad and then additionally buying a Cintiq, maybe you could hold off on the Cintiq and see if you like using your iPad as a Cintiq. Now, again, I feel like if you're going to be doing a lot of work and you're going to be doing work professionally, probably a Cintiq is probably the best way to go, just because you can have a bigger surface area, bigger screen space. But I think that AstroPad could be a kind of a cool, maybe mobile alternative. The other thing too is AstroPad is a free app to, you can download it for free for a 14-day trial and you can cancel anytime. But I feel like if you want to actually purchase it, it is, I believe it's it's $80 a year, or a one-time payment of $150 or $149.99. So I feel like you got to kind of weigh the pros and cons of that. Is it worth it? Does that make sense? I feel like it's pretty cool. You can kind of get rid of your keyboard. I feel like it's working better than I first anticipated with, again, programs like ZBrush, Blender, because, again, it can support middle mouse, it can support hover, it can support custom keys. It can also kind of work with multiple monitors if you had that on your computer. So really a pretty cool thing. I feel like the lag is not too bad, especially if you have it connected physically to the computer. So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if I'm missing something. I feel like I should just mention this. If you're using Photoshop, pressure sensitivity works directly right out of the gate. So again, something to consider. Again, make sure to like and subscribe if you like more videos like this. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by.